interested, let's vibe it out a bit, yeah? It's about forging a connection. It's about getting to know someone else and signaling that you want to get to know them better and you want to share more about yourself and, you know. But Jay has this weird idea that women are these commodities that he needs to judge and review before he does anything like be nice to them. And even then, for him, flirting isn't about being nice to someone. It's about manipulating them in some way to get sex out of them, right? His reasons for not flirting are not because he might make the other person uncomfortable, but because he doesn't want just any old woman feeling good about herself. And also he doesn't want to risk embarrassing himself either if she's not interested. It's clearly like an ego thing because he has no self-confidence, does he? No, unlike you. In all his social interactions, the other person, in this case the woman, their comfort and feelings of safety don't come into this at all. They aren't a concern to Jay, and that is concerning. Isn't it, small one? He claims that of women, it's their fairy tale to be approached rather than be matched on a dating app. Yeah, no, I think it's our fairy tale to be able to live safely in peace without being harassed by men like you. You're a bit off there, mate. Do the manly thing and approach. You'll feel like a boss. She'll feel feminine. Chemistry galore. Why does it sound like he's never been around an actual woman in his life? Like, me and my partner had crazy chemistry when we first met, and I was one who asked him out. So yeah, that one single anecdote puts a spanner in your theory, doesn't it, Jay? I don't know what I'm saying anymore. Oh, I don't know, I'm tired. Next up, he tells men that they need to be approaching women at least 3 times a day because that adds up to nearly 1,100 times a year. He says, I know, it's stupid, isn't it? It's stupid, even you know that. He says, literally approach the first 3 girls you see by themselves every day. Just make sure they're isolated first, yeah? It's not creepy at all. Trust me, from someone who's approached anywhere between 3,000 and 5,000 girls in my time, this is the best way. No, Jay, you trust me. As a woman who's been approached by strangers in public just because I'm alone, please don't do that. There are so many problems with this just try with as many women as possible and see what sticks approach. On the one hand, it feels like commodifying women. It reduces us down to interchangeable objects because a man like this just clearly wants anyone he can get, not actually someone special. He doesn't actually want you. He just wants someone who'll have him, you know? Which means he's less likely to be loyal in the long term. He's just going to go for the easiest, most vulnerable target. He's not going to actually treat you with any respect. It's dehumanizing. He doesn't care about any of these women as individuals. He just wants to collect as many as possible like trophies. Plus, as a woman, it's quite intimidating to hear because it just feels like none of us are safe. Like, I was writing this video script at my writing group, and I was speaking to some of the girls there, and I was like, what do you think of this? And, like, me, Jess, and Chloe were sat around, and we were like, yeah, none of us are safe. He could want any of us. Like, if we were sat alone right now, he would be here trying it on with all of us, and we were like, ooh, creepy. Not very nice. He's not targeting women with certain characteristics. He's just going for as many as possible as often as he can, and he's telling other men to do that too. Like, he's literally saying, if you see a woman alone, target her. And that is terrifying because what that equates to in the real world is, if you're a woman alone, you're going to be harassed by men. You have no choice. And if he's going out there telling this to all these different men and all these men are doing it, it means that we're not going to be able to go anywhere alone without being approached by God knows how many men and bothered by them. It's not... Oh, God. It's the worst. Yeah, I was rambling there, but I literally wrote in my script here, if every single man followed this advice, none of us would ever be able to leave the house alone without being bothered, and most of us already can't. And it's not just that they bother us, it's not just that they're talking to us, it's not just that they're hitting on us, it's the fact that we don't know how they'll react when they're rejected. That's the scary thing. I've turned down men from sorry, not interested, I've got a partner, please leave me alone, and had men shout at me, call me names, follow me home, follow me into shops, try and touch me without permission, just because I've not been interested in them, and it's terrifying. When any man approaches you in public and you're alone, you don't know if they're going to be one of the ones who has that reaction, and it is scary. And again, this point here shows that Jay has absolutely no consideration for the other person in this interaction. It's all about what he and other men can get out of this. Literally approach the first 3 girls you see by themselves. Okay, but what about when those girls, I think he means women, don't want to be bothered? They're trying to get somewhere or do something. Why not have consideration for their needs and wants and feelings of safety? And of course, to look at the final point, he says, take massive action now while you're still single so you don't regret it when you're older and married and want to cheat on your wife because you didn't take action when you were single and had the chance. Again, this just shows a lack of respect for women in general, and honestly, a lack of respect for other men, actually. It's like when fundies assume that women need to cover up because men can't control themselves. They just have these urges, and they treat men like these wild animals that we've got to be careful not to tempt. It's disrespectful because not all men are like that. And it's the same here. Not all men are going to cheat unless they've had XYZ amount of women beforehand. That's just not how a lot of men work. It's disrespectful to paint all men with this brush. Not all men are this shallow and lacking loyalty. There are actually good ones out there, you know? Not everyone's like you, Jay. Jay now claims in his videos and content that he now has a wife and a 1-year-old child, and I honestly feel so sorry for his wife. Can you imagine if you're married to this man and you hear him going around saying, I won't cheat because I've already hit on loads of other women, don't worry, rather than, I won't cheat because I love you and I'm committed to you. God, I would be so sad if my partner was talking like this. And that's the end of this Reddit post. So, you see what I mean? I thought it was kind of funny. I thought it was just like, there's some points we can make here. Let's just do a silly second channel video. But then, like I say, I looked at his Reddit profile. I found him targeting teenagers and vulnerable people and trying to scam a bunch of people out of money. And then I found his YouTube channel. So like I say, Jay has a YouTube channel where he makes videos like my honest review of Hustlers University 4.0 from Andrew Tate. Is HU4 legit or a scam? Spoiler, he really likes it. Of course he does. He genuinely thinks it's worth 50 quid a month, and that's a good investment. So that's the kind of man we're dealing with here. I just feel like if you're an Andrew Tate fan, that really says a lot about you, doesn't it? And I immediately don't trust you. But he also has a range of interesting video topics like, I made £39,000 a year driving trucks. Do you want to kill yourself? Watch this first. Become a millionaire with £1 a day. YouTube paid me £817.77 with only 1,478 subscribers. I stopped watching the news and I'm never going to again. Please help. Is she into me? And my personal favourite, 3 things all young men want, with the thumbnail, do these 4 things. His YouTube channel also links to a free men's dating skills quiz, but sadly it's just a draft and I wasn't able to take it and have my dating skills evaluated yet. Maybe one day he'll finish it when he's finally learned how to use apostrophes and I can be tested by Jay and we can see how good of a man I really am. Now, I want to have a look at some of his videos, and we're going to be kind of splitting these up into broad topics. We've got his videos on mental health, his pickup advice, and his videos motivating men. Let's take a look at these. We're going to start with mental health. His videos discussing mental health issues are disrespectful and dangerous. One in particular was this one titled Self-Harm, Understanding Why People Do It and How to Stop, where he uses this incredibly triggering image on the thumbnail. I'm going to censor this, but basically it's a person holding their arm out with visible cuts and scars. Not sure how YouTube are still allowing this as a thumbnail, but here we are. If you want to skip this particular topic because it's too difficult for you, I understand that. Absolutely okay. I'll leave a timestamp on screen that you can skip to, or just skip to the next video chapter. That's okay. So he starts his video by saying he was once trying to chirps a girl who was leng with self-harm scars. I had to Google both these words because I'm not cool and down with the kids. Urban Dictionary tells me that this means he was trying to woo a sexually attractive woman. So, yeah, honestly, a really disrespectful way to start this video.
Several years ago, I was talking to a girl who had marks on her wrist from her cutting herself and harming herself. And we got talking. I was actually trying to chase her.
I think many of you might know, bless you don't because you're new here, self-harm is something that I've struggled with for a long, long time. I have not done it in a few months. I'm doing really, really well. I've made some fantastic progress. Recently, I got myself this really beautiful and special tattoo of octopus and some mushrooms to cover up where a lot of my scarring was. I've still got plenty around here, but basically this is to help me cover up some scars and to give me motivation to stop hurting myself here. And so far, it's really, really working. Everything's going great. So when we talk about issues of self-harm, this is something that I feel really, really strongly about, and I can't help but find Jay's whole way of discussing this incredibly disrespectful. I have tried to date people in the past while having both recent cuts on my arms and older scarring, and I found that, with some exceptions, men generally fall into 4 categories when they see and notice this. 1, they understand, they're supportive, they don't draw too much attention to it, but they let you know that, you can talk to them if you want to. This is great. This is how my partner is now. It's wonderful. Love that. Why can't more men be like that? Then you have men who fall into the second category, who are entirely dismissive of it. They call it attention seeking. They tell you to just stop. This one's really harmful because it makes the problem worse and it entirely invalidates your feelings. Men in the third category, they think they can be your knight in shining armor and cure you and fix you, and that once you have a good man like him, he'll finally fix all your mental health problems. This one, again, is terrible because it's dismissive of your feelings and your experiences, and it's also a man trying to make you dependent on him, and it's just patronizing crap. I hate these men. And the worst thing is they think they're the good ones. They think they're doing something good and right by doing that, and that you owe them something, and it's just the worst thing. And finally, you get men who fall in the fourth category, where they seem like they understand, but ultimately they use this vulnerability of yours against you in a manipulative and abusive way. This is what my abusive ex did, and it turned me into an absolute wreck. Sadly, I have been on dates with people, mostly men, who fall into all of these categories, and yeah, it's hard. Putting it simply, dating when you're a person with self-harm issues is a minefield, and it's difficult to experience, and it's honestly difficult to talk about as well. But yeah, let's see what Jay has to say. Yeah, because I mean, he once spoke to a girl with scars, so he's the expert, right?
Several years ago, I was talking to a girl who had marks on her wrist from her cutting herself and harming herself. And we got talking. I was actually trying to chirp her because she was leng. But then when I got closer to her, I could see all these marks on her wrist and her arm and stuff like that. I was like, okay, let's get into it. I'm curious now.
Okay, I'm just gonna say it. Massive red flag right here, yeah? A man who is trying to hit on you and then starts to pry into your personal trauma and mental health problems just because he's curious, that's a no from me. And most women, I'd say. That is incredibly personal stuff. You don't want to just talk about that with just anyone. I used to have so many men and strangers talk to me about stuff like this when I used to have fresh cuts regularly, and it made me so uncomfortable. It makes you feel ashamed of yourself, like there's something wrong with you, like people are treating you like you're, I don't know, something in a zoo or a museum to be gawked at, and it's just horrible. It's so invasive. So invasive.
Let's get into it. I'm curious now. Why is this happening? Why did you do that to yourself? And she said when she was younger, she went through a lot of difficult times. And the way that she got through that was by cutting herself to make her feel pain. And to get over that, whatever that situation was at hand, whether it was with her parents, with her peers, or the general mental health at the time. And the thing that we got out of this conversation was that she was doing self-harm because she actually self-hated, which means she hated who she was in this existence.
Yeah, it is actually really common for self-harming behaviours to start when you're a teenager, but not always. And yes, it is often a coping mechanism for dealing with awful stuff going on in your life, but it's also a lot more complicated than that. I started back when we used to get bullied in school, so kids basically made it into this almost like game or competition between them, where they used to see who could get me to cry first or who could get me to leave the classroom first by calling me names throwing stuff at me, saying things. It was horrible. And I used to cope with that by trying to tune everyone out by hurting myself. And we had these really old metal radiators in Forford that would get burning hot, and I started with holding my arm against that. That progressed to me kind of digging my nails into my arm until it bled, and eventually that progressed to me cutting myself as I got older. And that lasted a good 15 years or more. I'm 31 now. I have hurt myself within the last year. I still get the urges regularly to do it, and it's something I'm still doing. So this isn't just something that affects young people. I feel like self-harming adults isn't really spoken about enough or taken as seriously as it should be. Anyway, for me, and it's very, very different for everyone. Everyone will have very different reasons for self-harming and why they do it and how it, and the reasons why it helps them. But for me, the pain was firstly a distraction from everything going on around me. Secondly, I did see it as a form of self-punishment because I internalized all these things people were saying about me, about how I was weird and stupid and over-emotional and a mess and ugly and whatever. I internalized all that and I thought I deserved this. 3, it was a way to sort of quieten my brain, which I guess is kind of similar to the distraction bit, but I don't know, kind of feels different in the moment. And fourthly, it was and always has been, and this is going to sound crazy to some people who don't understand it, but it was a method of self-care, because the process afterwards of cleaning the wounds, bathing them, bandaging them, looking after myself, it was a way of physically healing myself that felt like I was emotionally healing myself. Does that make sense? So there was that self-care element in there as well. That's just me though. Other people will have different reasons, and everyone's individual reasons are valid, absolutely. But to get to the point where I am today, where I can have the urges and mostly manage to stop myself, and it's no longer a daily occurrence, that has taken me a hell of a lot of work. I've had to unpack all of this stuff with 3 different therapists over the years. I've had to do a hell of a lot of work to heal myself. One conversation with a guy in a bar going, "Oh my god, I figured you out. It's because you hate yourself, yeah? Let me tell you how to fix that." It's disrespectful. It's an oversimplification of everything going on in a person's head, and ultimately it's harmful.
And the only way to get out of that self-hate is to start doing the disciplined activities to get you out of this rut that you're in. Because it's only a rut until you get back to your baseline and then above, right?
Jay, shut up. Tell me you know nothing about mental illness without telling me you know nothing about mental illness. Jay actually reminds me of this guy Jack that I dated for like a couple of weeks, couple of months, I don't know, who basically told me I would stop self-harming if I just went to the gym more. Yeah? Just lift some weights like I do. That's all you need. No, absolutely not. I'm not going to get over years of trauma and mental health problems that I still need medication for by putting myself in a situation where I already find uncomfortable and anxiety-inducing. Sure, he enjoyed going to the gym and it gave him a big dopamine boost. Me going to the gym is like panic attacks and anxiety and crying on the floor. But he was one of these guys who just thought I needed this knight in shining armor, and if he could just, take me to the gym a few times, I'd be cured. And when I didn't want to go to the gym, then it was my own fault. I still had mental health problems and was still self-harming because I was choosing to not fix them by not going to the gym. He was a douchebag. He really, really was. He's also the one that I dumped because he couldn't stop talking about the explicit details of every single girl he'd slept with, and then physically kicked Kyra off the bed one time. Like, physically kicked her. Piece of crap. Absolute piece of crap. That was too much for me. That was my final straw. I was gone. But the point is, they're the vibes I'm getting from Jay here. Jay then compares self-harm to how he used to binge eat and watch porn and how most people watch TV. Now, I'm not going to say they can't be similar for some people because, everyone has different coping mechanisms for different things. But it's this bit that bothers me.
It's all a way to distract you and take your mind away from focusing on how to actually better your life, because that takes work initially until you start to get the positive feedback loop. Then you're like, oh shit, Like I've gone to the gym for 30 days. I could start seeing some muscle. I'm going to keep going. Oh, my aunt said I look really good the other day. I lost a lot of weight. That's a positive feedback loop. Now I'm going to keep going.
Yes, people who want to self-harm, it's just a distraction from wanting to better your life. You just need more motivation to read a book and then you'll stop self-harming, right? No, shut up. That's just not how it works. Some of the times when I was self-harming most were the times when to the outside world I looked to be the most successful, you know? There was this one time when I was head of marketing of this large online book retailer. Another point, I was successfully self-employed and doing really well work-wise, and I was still self-harming every day. Both of these times, I was doing good, you know? Graduated from one of the best universities in the world. I had all these hobbies. Yes, Jay, I was reading like 10 to 15 books a month. I had my own home, money, doing okay. I had amazing groups of friends. But my life was, to the outside, absolutely fine. I was constantly in the state of learning and succeeding in so many areas and doing really, really well. But the problem was my mental health was a mess. This wasn't just something I could just decide to stop and think my way out of by just setting some more career goals or, you know, read a few more books. I'll give you something to focus on. That's not how it works. I needed therapy, I needed medication, I needed help. I needed to get my brain under control and heal from a hell of a lot of trauma I'd had. I can't help but think that Jay's advice here is just a major misunderstanding on his part of what the cause of mental health problems are. And this isn't just like a misunderstanding where you're like, oops, I thought this TV character said this, but it was actually this one. It's not that kind of misunderstanding, is it? This is the kind of misunderstanding that causes real harm and has real-world consequences that harms people and could cause someone to end up dead. That might sound extreme, but when we're talking about mental health stuff like this, it's really, really true.
So with the self-harm thing, it's just the same thing, but on a more physical, like blood-inducing level. You're cutting yourself, you feel some kind of, you get a feeling, and sometimes people are numb, right? So they get a feeling just by doing that, like, I am alive kind of thing. And that is no better than all the other things. It's actually worse because you're leaving scars on your body, right? But it all comes from self-hate. So what you want to do is what you want to think about, which is something that I've done to get out of my binge eating and consumption habits, is to focus on having a much simpler life, however, make the things that you do highly impactful. So this basically means for me, I've got 4 things to do in my life. It's to exercise, it's to record videos, it's to spend time with my wife, it's to spend time with my son. I've cleared up my apps. I'm listening to audiobooks pretty much every day at the moment. I consume content that is going to help me level up my mind, sharpen myself, and get better rather than just watching entertainment content.
Damn, if only I'd known sooner. I could have stopped self-harming 15 years ago if I'd just gone to the gym, started my YouTube channel and listened to audiobooks. You see what I mean? It's stupid.
If you're in this period of self-hate, self-harm, then the way to get out of it is to focus on habits that you can turn into disciplines, that you can turn into a new identity, and then you start living that way from now on, in a self-loving kind of way. There's a quote that I like to live by at the moment, which is, discipline is the highest form of self-love. So imagine if you did this every single day. You wake up early, 3, 4, 5 a.m. for example. You did some meditation in the morning. You jotted your thoughts down for the day, so your mind is clear, right? Then you went ahead and did something for your business, whether it's making calls or sending emails or doing like tasks that can't be done before people are up. Most other people are awake, so like before 9 a.m. You've done most of your admin, busy tasks for the day before people have even woken up for the day, right? Imagine what type of mental shift that will do for you, the psychological benefits that will have you be like, I'm just a fucking boss. You see what I mean? So then it comes to like when I've got, okay, cool, maybe have a job still, I can't do. Then you go to work, you do your thing. Discipline is the highest form of self-love. Do these things that will give you delayed gratification, avoid the instant gratification stuff, and in 30 days, that's when you start reaping the benefits and you'll get the positive feedback loops, and then you'll be like, this is the path I need to stay on. Not the self-harm, not the binge eating, not the cutting myself, not the injuring my body, not the wanking away, not the drinking away, not the smoking away, not the binge eating, binge watching TV, the porn consumption, all these different things, right? These are things you want to avoid.
You know, I wish it was this simple. I really, really do. Just get some hobbies and learn more. You'll fix all your mental health problems. I wish it was that simple. But that's just not how the real world works, is it? The other thing that I think Jay fails to realise, and I don't know if this is true of anyone else, but this is like only my own experience, was that my need to self-harm was never a deliberate choice I was making. There were never days where I felt, oh, you know what, I'm feeling a bit down today. Let me just cut myself. No, it was never a choice. It was always an immediate reaction to certain feelings. It was always this emotion of like, oh, my head feels loud, I need to quiet it. And then I'd almost like dissociate and cut myself without thinking about it. And then afterwards you stop and realize what you've done and feel immense guilt. But it was an immediate reaction thing, not a conscious choice, you know? So the way that I learned to kind of cope with that was to get help in slowing down those thoughts in the first place, being able to recognize those signs of when that fog was coming in and stop myself before I dissociate and before it turns into something I can't control anymore. I don't think Jay is understanding that or taking any of that into account, and that's a big problem. In summary, Jay's entire approach to mental health problems, including self-harm, boils down to, if you have mental health problems, ignore them, suppress them, and instead just try to paper over the cracks by being too busy to think about them, which is honestly why men have such poor mental health today and are suffering so badly. It's not okay. I don't care what your gender is, if you have a mental health problem, you need to address them, and there's absolutely no shame in that. It's a wonderfully brave and empowering thing to do. Trying to suppress and ignore your problems is only going to make them 10 times worse in the long run. Jay's advice is what harms people. Jay's advice to suppress all these feelings is what kills people. One of my friends, Charles, is at the minute training to run 90 marathons in 90 days for a charity called James's Place, who offers support to men with mental health problems and aim to prevent suicide amongst men. So their website says that men consistently account for over 75% of suicides in the UK, and that in general, men are less likely to access psychological therapies than women, which is what puts men at such high risks of suicide and suicide attempts. The advice that people like Jay give to just ignore your problems and distract yourself instead of addressing them and understanding them is dangerous and is literally what is killing thousands of men every year. If you want to find out more about James's Place, they're a great charity. I will link to them in the video description so you can find out more, and I'll also leave a link to Charles's fundraiser too if you also want to support him. He's doing a great thing for a really great cause, and also releasing a record along the way, so more amazing music in the world. Incredible. He has been so incredibly open about his own struggles and how he is working through them, and he's just an incredibly brave and inspiring man. He is, or at least I think he still is, on the same medication as me, so it's nice to know that someone else is kind of going through similar stuff to me and coping with it in similar but different ways. He's just, like I say, he's brave, he's inspiring, he's absolutely incredible, and he's just the opposite of a man like Jay in every way. Right, you know what, we've heard enough of that rubbish. He has another extremely distasteful video titled, "Do you want to kill yourself? Watch this first." This is the one that he sent to the suicidal, vulnerable teenage boy. In this video, he opens by saying, "You're just playing a character. Kill your mental self, not your physical self, and just take on a new character." Telling someone to kill themselves, but it's okay, I just mean mentally, is still incredibly dangerous. I would love to know what a therapist has to say in response to this, because I think they would be just as shocked and appalled as I am.
Do you want to kill yourself? Now, if you're in this position, I really do feel probably good position to be in. But the only thing I can truly say on this is don't kill your physical self, kill your mental self. If you just use this feeling that you're feeling right now and realize that the character you've been playing up till this point has not been serving you, is the one that wants to die, then the whole side of suicide thing takes a different angle to it. Because you're killing your mental self and not your physical self. You're killing the character that you've been playing this whole time rather than the physical body that can embody another character. So use this feeling as an opportunity to learn everything you can about yourself and who you want to become next. Practicing gratitude is one of the most important things you can do for your mental health. If you just think about how lucky you are, just to be a human in fact, that, like all the other animals that are out there that exist today, you're a human. You probably live in a home if you're watching this video. You probably have a smartphone if you're watching this video. You probably have some kind of money that you can buy things that can improve your life if you're watching this video. Think about just being a human, just how grateful you have to be just human. I have a field right in front of my house. I know there's mice, I know there's toads, whatever. When a combine harvester comes and clears that row of wheat, they are all getting eaten up in that harvester. You don't have to live in a field. You live in a home. You live in a comfortable place, most likely.
I just have no words for how bad this is. I'm just gonna leave this one here for you all to comment on because I cannot. Who actually comes up with this stuff? It's like, don't kill yourself because it is going to toad you What's wrong with him?
Once you're born in some kind of animal species, once you're born, you're done. You're done by yourself. If you're a turtle, you get born on the beach and you go straight to the ocean and you don't even see your parents ever again. You don't see your siblings ever again. You have to figure it out. That's just one thing. Think about everything else. If you drive a car and then you need to go to Scotland, for example, when you're in London, that, 400, 500 mile journey can be done now because of the world that you live in. You don't have to take horseback all the way up there. You don't have to walk all the way up there. You don't have to, if you wanted to, you could fly all the way up there and take an hour.
It gets worse. Don't kill yourself because you don't need to go from London to Scotland on horseback. Jay, please stop. Please.
So if your life sucks and you're thinking of ending it, just end the mental aspect of it. That's fine. End your life, but in the mental capacity, not the physical capacity. When you end the physical capacity, you're hurting yourself as well as others who want you in their life long term. When you hurt the mental capacity, when you change the mental capacity, you're only enriching your own life, so your physical life will be better as well as your mental life, as well as your family's life will be better as well, because they can see that you're having a mental shift into a better person, into a more loving person, into a more grateful person, into a person that gives more perhaps, into a person who's more happy with their life, and in turn, the people around you will become happier. So I'm not even saying don't kill yourself. I think you should, but only in the mental capacity. I want to make this very, very clear. Do kill yourself in the mental game.
I'm not even saying don't kill yourself. I think you should. How is this allowed on YouTube? For God's sake, it is so dangerous to be speaking to vulnerable people, especially vulnerable children and teenagers like this. This is dangerous. He then again goes on to tell people that one of the reasons they're suicidal is because they aren't listening to enough audiobooks. It's crazy. Absolutely crazy.
Another aspect I want to talk about is personal development and reading and listening to audiobooks and videos that can change your mindset. If you're not doing these things, where are you going to get the information needed to change your mind? You're not. If you're going to go out and about, speak to the same people you've been speaking to, doing the same things you've been doing, you're never going to actually get anything different in your life. You're not going to get results. You're not going to actually change. What you need to do is start your personal development journey, self-improvement journey, self-help journey, read books, buy as many non-fiction self-help books as possible, learn the things that you need about technique-wise, and also on a philosophical level to change your mental state.
This is just a blatant misunderstanding misunderstanding of what mental health, depression, anxiety, having suicidal urges. It's just a misunderstanding of what it's actually like. He should not be talking about this. He should not be allowed to talk about this. He is going to end up killing someone here. Seriously. Okay, let's move on. Some of his more recent videos are focused around dating advice and being a pickup artist. This one in particular reads like something straight out of a Rouge V book. It is called Day Game and Cold Approach Mini Course, Complete Dating Tutorial, which I think to the ordinary person translates to something like how to creep on women during the day when they just want to be left alone.
Alright, so this is a very short video on the entire process of the game. So if you just get this video down packed, exactly what I'm saying in terms of meeting someone and taking them on a date or arranging a date from there, then you can kind of like get away with this, like bypassing all the years of reading that you may need to do if you're like someone who's like a few years ago. So here it is, okay? Hold a woman's gaze, don't squirm, you can smile, acknowledge them, perhaps with a nod, say hi, don't flirt, just be friendly, make them want you, talk, learn about them, arrange a time, perhaps even then and there, where you can both grab a drink to get to know each other more. That is the concept of the game. That is going out there, meeting someone, smiling with them, understanding that you're there to kind of like learn about each other, as well as like show that there's a spark of chemistry or like potentially something intimate could happen. You're not just there as a friendly vibe kind of thing.
He really does use a lot of words without actually saying anything of substance.
So when it comes to the holding woman's gaze, a lot of guys do this. They just go out there and they see a woman, and then the woman looks at them, and the first thing they do is look down. That just shows you're weak. It just shows you're like not the man that she needs to be in her life.
Okay, so here's where we're discussing the eye contact bit, like I mentioned earlier. First up, and I'll say this again, as an autistic woman, any person, especially a man, who aggressively tries to hold my gaze, the only response you're getting out of me is that I'm gonna run home crying. I am not comfortable with that at all. I can just about make eye contact with Kieran for like a few seconds now, and that's nearly 2 years into our relationship. Just getting there with that. Anyone else does it and I'm so uncomfortable. Secondly, just like his Reddit post that we discussed earlier, this is just commodifying women. It is reducing human interactions down to how can I minimize my effort to get maximum reward, and it is gross. A woman isn't, a washing machine. You don't need a step-by-step guide. Press this button, and you'll get it to do this thing that you need.
Whereas what a real man would do, someone like your boy right here, when I was single, I should add, is I would like walk wherever I'm going, whatever, look eyes with a girl, and then do not look away. Just smile nicely and then just say hey.
Sorry, but a real man isn't online trying to scam vulnerable men and teenagers out of money. Sorry.
Human subcommunication, right? Body language. As soon as you see someone look away, or especially if a girl sees a guy look away when they're staring, when they're like looking at each other, or catch eyes or glance at each other, it just shows that woman that guy is not serious, or he's not like real man material. Okay, so just don't do that.
I can't be the only woman watching this who finds this intimidating, right? A stranger walks up to you and just stares you down, even if you're not reciprocating, because he thinks it's some power move to get sex from you. That is scary. When I met Kieran, he didn't aggressively maintain eye contact with me. He understood and respected my boundaries, that eye contact is something I wasn't comfortable with, and he didn't force it. That is a real man. And by real man, I mean a decent human being.
I mean, if you actually want to go, just be nice, just be cool, ask her how's the day going, etc. Say you think she looks nice today or whatever. It could be anything. It just don't flirt. Just don't flirt. Yeah, just don't say dumb shit to flirt. Be friendly. That's all. Be nice and let her see like, okay, he's a nice guy. Let me see where this goes, kind of thing, rather than like, he's such a cringe dickhead.
This might be good advice if, one, it wasn't calculated and planned in advance, and two, you weren't just doing this to random women you see on the street. I really hate it when I'm outside alone in public and a guy is like, hey, what are you doing with your day? Why are you alone? And they do that fake friendliness thing because they're trying to hit on you. It makes me so uncomfortable, and I've spoken to a lot of my friends and they say the exact same thing. I don't know one woman who actually likes it. There are appropriate places to approach someone, either for dating or friendship, you know? Bars, social gatherings, clubs and societies, meetups, like I know a local board games night, or I go to a local writing group. You know, places that you go specifically to socialize. I and most other people I know don't want to be bothered when we're out alone doing stuff alone. If I'm out shopping or at a museum by myself or something like that, I am there to enjoy that activity by myself. I'm not there to socialise and be bothered by other people. When I want to meet other people, I go specifically to social activities, like my writing group, like a board games night, you know? There are ways to have conversations with strangers, even in non-social settings, that's not creepy though. And just to give you two very, very different examples here, just from my own personal life. If you've been following me for a while, you might see on Instagram and stuff, I post a lot of like animal pictures and stuff like that, and I'm obsessed with animals and nature, and actually, when I talk about my book at the end of this video, that's a big part of it. And one of the things I really love doing, especially by myself, are going to ethical zoos, wildlife conservation places, animal sanctuaries, all that sort of thing. I absolutely love it. And probably, I'd say maybe 60-70% of the time I tend to go alone, usually because I like going on weekdays when there aren't that many people there and it's not that busy. Sometimes Kieran comes with me, sometimes my sister comes with me. I've been to Tropical World with my friend Joe. All that was really fun, but most of the time I go alone. It's what I like to do. I like to take my time, take some photos. I love it. A couple of months back, I was in Blackpool for a friend's show one night, and I took myself to the zoo there the next day. And while I was in one of the monkey buildings, I was in this whole building completely alone, because like I said, it was a very quiet day. And I kind of started interacting with two of the little gibbons in their enclosure. And they were kind of like playing with each other, and they were coming over to me, and they were looking at my camera, they were really shocked. So I turned the camera around and I started showing themselves pictures of themselves on the camera. I'm like, look, this is you, this is your face. Do you recognise yourself? And they would come up to the glass and be like, whoa, what is this? And they were like tapping each other and pointing at the camera. It was very, very cute. It was absolutely adorable. And as I was doing that, these two women walked into the monkey house area and they were like, oh my God, this is so cute. And they made a joke about like, oh, are we interrupting something here? Like, you know, as in they just like walked into two friends hanging out or something like that, but it was me and the monkeys. They made a joke about that. It was really cute. They asked me about the gibbons and what they've been doing. Then they gave me some recommendations for other things to see at the zoo. Lovely little chat. Really, really nice. We shared a cute moment, shared some information with each other, had a little laugh. It was lovely. I wasn't in a place where like I was looking to socialise with other people, but it was a very nice social interaction where we just enjoyed talking for the sake of talking. It was really, really nice. And neither of us went into that interaction with trying to get something out of the other person other than just enjoying that moment and sharing a cute moment together. Compare that to what happened to me the other night, where I went to a comedy show by myself, had a really good time, it was really fun, enjoyed it, and then afterwards my friend Joe texted me and he was like, hey, I'm just finishing up a set with a band at this pub that was basically on my way home. He's like, do you want to come join us for a drink after? I was like, yeah, absolutely, that'd be great, thank you. So I walked like 20 minutes to this pub. It's on my way home, but it's not close to the theatre where I saw the comedy show. It's not a pub you would generally go to after that show unless you were specifically going there for a reason, right? So I get to the pub, see Joe's finishing up his set, give him a little wave, and popped to the loo, came back down, went to the bar to get a drink for me and Joe. And as I'm stood there at the bar, this guy comes up to me and his friend's kind of lurking behind, and one of them was like, oh, what do you think of Simon tonight then? And I was like looking around, I'm like, but there's no Simon in this band, like what does he mean? And he goes, Simon Brodkin, you're at the theatre, right? And I was like, yeah. And he just kept going and going. And he was like, why are you here alone? Like, why were you at the theatre alone? Oh, like, you must not have a boyfriend. You must be single. I'm like, no, I have a boyfriend. He's just at home. And he then started like insulting Kieran and being like, oh, you know, if you were my girlfriend, I wouldn't let you out alone. I'd come with you. But I'm like, I like doing things alone. And he was getting really uncomfortable and really, really pushy. And he was clearly trying to hit on me. And he'd clearly followed me 20 minutes from a theatre and then followed me into this pub that is, like I say, not a normal pub you would go to. He hadn't just organically decided to come to this pub as well. You know what I mean? Especially because the pub was closing soon and I was only there because I was seeing Joe after his band had finished playing. It creeped me out so much. It was inappropriate. The fact that he'd gone out of his way to manufacture this situation, knowing I was alone. We weren't just sharing a nice moment about the show organically. He'd gone out of his way to essentially manufacture this so he could ask me about it. And then once I had, started insulting me and my partner. It just, very, very uncomfortable. And thankfully, Joe came over and like squished between us and was like, hi, do you want help carrying the drinks? I was like, yes, please. And he saved me, thank God. But that's the difference. The first interaction with the two women was organic and it was nice and it was lovely and it was just a conversation for the sake of enjoying conversation. The second one was an unwanted conversation with someone who was creepy and had manufactured the whole situation. It made me very, very uncomfortable. The latter is what Jay is promoting here and in all his videos. He doesn't want natural conversation where you might just hit it off with someone or not. He is forcing interactions with women who are alone, who you seek out because they're alone and therefore vulnerable in some way because you want something from her. That is uncomfortable and it's scary.
Really, you just want to kind of like see if she passes the vibe check at this point and just like see if you two match on an intellectual basis as well as like on a witty kind of basis. If you can have like bust jokes together and stuff like that, that's kind of what you're looking for there.
Jay, sorry, but you are not passing any vibe check right now. Also, I don't know what a bus joke is, so I'm just going to skip over that bit. Jay is from London and uses lots of words I don't understand because Yorkshire.
But this one hopefully will get you to a point where you're just like approaching every single girl that comes your way, that you're attracted to, that you like, and that could potentially go somewhere.
And there it is. This is the problem. Going back to what we spoke about with that Reddit post, this idea that you'll just take anyone that'll have you, it commodifies women, it dehumanizes us, and it's creepy as hell. Another video of Jay's is titled The Right Way to Find Love in 2024. Let's give this a watch together.
So, I got a cousin, right? Young, single motherfucker. And he's talking about, if you need to read a book on a relationship, you must not be good at relationships, right? But he's young, he's single, he thinks he's on top of the world. How do I know this? Because when I was that young, I also thought the same way. I thought I was fucking invincible. And like, it's good to have that kind of level of self-belief. At the same time, having that arrogance that you know everything, even though you're like 18, 19, 20, 21, it's just dumb as fuck.
Yeah, kind of like the arrogance you have for standing there thinking you know everything, whilst at the same time you're dehumanizing women, calling people dumb and swearing at them, yeah? Genuinely though, I don't know why this man needs to swear so much. Does he think it makes him cool or relatable? Because just, no.
So, this is a lesson for investing in your relationship, for example, right? Let's just say you meet a beautiful young woman, or if you're a girl, if you meet a handsome, dashing young man, just like whoever you want to think about, and then you just fall in love. You just start going on dates, etc. You go out on holidays, all these different things, good stuff. You get married, maybe have kids with this person, and all of a sudden you're like 7, 8, 10 years in, and you start feeling like hate, not hate, but like irritation towards this person, or like annoyance towards this person, right? And all relationships have these like up and down kind of like patterns, right? At the same time, I guarantee 99+% of people don't invest in their relationship, like knowledge-based.
Once again, like I said earlier, he uses so many words without ever actually saying much. And sorry, but 99% of people don't invest in their relationship, like knowledge base is such a nothing sentence and claim with absolutely nothing to back it up. Basically, in this whole video, he's like, no one in the world knows how to do relationships, and that's why you're all getting divorced. Like, one of his big things is that apparently people are choosing the wrong partners, and maybe there's like a little bit of truth in that, because I've spoken many times in videos about the importance I feel in being intentional in your relationships. And that includes friendships, and that does include friendships and everything as well. I think it's really important to know what you want and aim for it so you don't accidentally end up messing other people around. I think that's so important. If you just want to casually date someone, be upfront with that. If you're looking for something more serious and long term, be upfront with that. And if that's what you want as well, knowing your core values and the core values you want in a partner is really, really useful. It's something my therapist taught me, and it's been absolutely invaluable and made all my relationships and friendships so much stronger and healthier, and I really love it. And a lot of that starts with doing a lot of self-work to really get to know yourself and love yourself and accept yourself and know what you really want. And once you know that, to also know that you deserve it and not be afraid to go out and get it. Jay's advice is, it's okay, I guess. He just wants you to read some books about relationships, which is fine. I love a good book. You know me, if I want to learn something new, I will go and read like 5 books on the subject and then be like, yeah, you know what? I know like 1% of the knowledge in the world on this topic now. It's a good start. And if you've seen any of my other videos, you'll know that I often give big, long, further reading lists on the ones that are quite like educational and fact-heavy. And a few of the books that I've recommended in the past are relationship-based books. You know, I recommend some like Esther Perel and people like that. What is worrying though is not that Jay is recommending you read books to learn about relationships, but the kinds of books he's recommending. And here's where we talk about Mark Manson.
Remedies to this could be just a book about how to salvage your marriage or your relationship, or if you're new to the game, if you're a guy, books like Models by Mark Manson, which is all about how to meet women. If you never met women out there, it's a fantastic book to get started with.
Mark Manson is someone who writes a whole bunch of nothing. I read his book, The Subtle Art of Not Giving an F, when I was in my early 20s. And you know, I actually thought, yeah, this guy, he's confident. That's quite inspiring. And then I read the book again a few years later and realised it is a bunch of macho bravado with no substance really, and he is mostly talking about his book. Mark writes for men who want to feel smart but actually only ever read self-help books and nothing that's actually mentally stimulating or intellectually challenging. He writes for men who just want to be told that they are right and never have their worldview actually challenged. People like Jay. In researching this video, particularly liked his one review of the book on Goodreads, which said, "This book was clearly written for people who don't read." Yeah, but that's just Mark's most famous book. He has actually written quite a lot of books, and one of the ones that people don't know about too much is the first book he ever wrote, and this is the one that Jay recommends. It's called Models, Attract Women Through Honesty, and it is a mess. Let me give you a very brief review of this book. And by brief, I mean I have several pages of script written. There's a lot to say. Let's start with a few passages from the introduction. Mark writes, "I read a couple of books with pick-up lines and techniques and went out to bars 4 to 5 nights a week." It's not a big thing to do. Approaching, flirting and failing, pushing and pulling, effing and floundering for those 36 glorious months of experimentation. I grew a reputation locally for my exploits. Soon men whom I'd never met were emailing me asking if they could come hang out with me to see how I interacted with women, to watch me in action. This led me in a winding, twisted path. It began with entries into and exits out of the so-called pickup artist community. I researched social psychology, theories behind attraction, historiographies on human sexuality, went on strip club binges, read books on NLP and cognitive therapy, attended various self-help seminars, and taught a few myself, shared hotel rooms with runway models, experimented with touch healing, and had a few alternative therapy mishaps, engaged in gender arguments with feminists, and read every crappy dating book on the market. There are a lot of words there. If you found that hard to follow, basically Mark says that he learned how to manipulate, talk down to, and demean women. Oh, and don't forget he also throws in that if he ever spoke to a woman who was a strong, self-assured feminist, he'd speak over her as much as possible to show what a big, strong man he is. Boo, feminism. goes on to write, there's been a void of what men are, what they're supposed to be, how they're supposed to behave, and until now, no one had moved to fill that void. Call it overly ambitious. But this book aims to fill that void, to help create the future models of masculine behavior. Models to be attractive, powerful, and in control of your relationships with women and with your general life. The first chapter of this book talks about how men need to stop being needy and how the way to seduce a woman is to be less invested in her than she is in you. In chapter 3, he brags how when he was in college, he, and I quote, started hanging out with a couple of guys who got more women than anyone else I knew, like Matt, who banged girls like it was his part-time job. What I learned is that regardless of what you say to a woman, the intention and implications of why you are saying it are far more powerful than the words themselves. You can say the lamest and grossest, or funniest, depending on your perspective, thing to women, and if the sub-communication is, I really don't care if you laugh or run away horrified, but here's who I am, take it or leave it. This sub-communicates a rock-bottom level of investment and an incredibly high level of vulnerability. Does this mean that saying grotesque things to women for no other reason than to self-amuse will get you laid? Not always, and not necessarily often, but you could do worse. I can't believe I'm saying this. His precursor to this story was saying how his friend used to get laid a lot by getting drunk in bars and shouting at women, "Can I pee in your butt?" And I'm sorry, but I just have to disagree with his entire premise here. I don't care if you're trying to show the world what a big, powerful, manly man you are, or whatever else your intentions are. What you do actually say to other people, especially women, matters. This is spoken like a guy who's clearly never lived with the same level of fear that women and non-binary people often do. He says, remember, what you actually say doesn't matter. Why you say it matters. Always. No exceptions. This is not true. This is absolutely not true. He also spends a lot of time throwing around misogynistic insults to put down a certain type of woman who he deems not as valuable, not as good, worthy of being put down or something or other. He says, when I first started going out, I spent a lot of time beating my head against the wall trying to pick up the hot club girls at loud nightclubs. You know, fake tans, fake tits, fake hair, fake personalities. Now, I do have to ask, were they really fake, or did they just not tolerate the crap coming out of your mouth and now you're trying to put them down because of it? I value curiosity, education, intelligence, and authenticity.
I think it stems mostly from people being very cynical and seeing the world through this transactional lens and assuming if someone else is like advocating for things that make them uncomfortable, they must have a secondary reason where they have just locked themselves into this like woke mind virus position. It must be for monetary reasons. They must be grifting. I think it's just a demonstration of their own personal framework. In the Philly D Thumbo.
Sup, you be.
Damn. Kick drama. I suspect that the kick drama is going to have me in the Philly D Thumbo. We made it again. +1 Thumbo, baby.
Beautiful bastards. Welcome back to the Philip DeFranco Show. You daily dive into the news, and I got an extra large show for you today. So how about you buckle up, hit that like button, otherwise we'll punch you in the throat, and let's jump into it. Starting with, in big
88 views 52 seconds ago. Chatters are so quick with it.
the internet and business drama news, we need to talk about Kick, right? And they're the streaming platform that's kind of known for two things. One, it's where seemingly a lot of people go when they get kicked off of the other platforms. And two, they have just thrown down so much damn money.
Wait, hold on. This guy checking in for more L takes from a leftist brainlet. Checking in for L takes. Subscribe for more L takes. Another October 7 lever. We're gonna unban him because he's got some good takes. All right, let's talk about this Kick.
For streamers. I mean, we're talking about reportedly millions and millions of dollars luring some of the biggest names over to the platform. But now they're in the news.
Yeah, except Amaranth, as of today, I believe Amaranth today is done with Kick. Her contract expired and she's back.
It was for a completely new reason. Because you had a former Kick employee by the name of Melissa posting a video with some serious accusations about the company's leadership and staff. With Melissa in the video talking about how hostile the culture of the company is as a whole.
There was just a consistent disrespect to other people's opinions and beliefs. And this went as far as to just consistently hearing the F slur, and not even just in jest, like as a joke. It was specifically, targeted towards people that it was supposed to discriminate against. Even so much as to walk past the socials room, the guys that run the, Kick streaming and Kick community, and hear the N-word just dropped, hard R. And I'm like, what is this office? How? And they had the executive, like the upper management was in the room.
But they're also claiming that staff members would do things like laughing as they deliberately misgendered trans streamers. So Melissa is saying that her decision to actually leave came down to two incidents that happened in her final weeks. One involved the case of a streamer with special needs whose contract was up for renewal. And when Melissa followed up with the streamer's point of contact at Kick to check how it was going, she said,
when I asked about this streamer's contract renewal, he had a smirk on his face and goes, I decimated his rate. And this was apparently hilarious because everybody else in the room laughed. I said, well, what did you put it down to? And he proceeded to then brag about the fact that he got him on a below market cent rate for an English streamer.
Then as far as the other incident that led to Melissa leaving, she said it was in relation to a meeting regarding a specific unnamed streamer.
Just for context, this particular streamer had been publicly battling cancer recently. So they decided to utilize that in their strategy to get this person over. The conversation very quickly became quite sinister. The quote that I remember hearing was, we can get her on Kick streaming steak for a relatively low price because she probably thinks she's going to die soon and she'll want to leave more money for her family.
With Melissa then going on to talk about children's safety on Kick and the way the company allegedly mishandled that, and claiming they don't even know their own policies.
Before I got there was no verification process for if somebody was underage. And it's so funny because by the time I left, me and compliance had put together a process, and because I was pushing it so hard, I'm like, we cannot allow anybody under 13 to stream. Now, nobody knew this, by the way, because I guess when you copy Twitch's TOS verbatim and then you just get some random guy in the office to change, the wording, none of the staff know the terms of service. So a lot of people were just like, nah, she can stream even if she's 6 years old because, you know, she'll have her dad near her or whatever. And it's like, no, that's actually not the case. She cannot be on the platform and she cannot hold her own account.
Melissa also going on to allege how she was personally mistreated during her time at the company and afterwards, saying that it got to the point that she felt she had to post her resignation letter on X last week. The company's co-founder, Ed Craven, then even responded, with Ed apologizing for not getting to know her better and asking for some examples of the issues that she experienced, saying that his DM...
Don't worry, the juicer did an investigation on himself and found nothing wrong with the company he gets paid $100 million for. I asked, and there was no communication to Kaide from Kick or Stake. XG defends Kick after former employees' allegations against the streaming platform. Later in the stream, XG revealed that he's part of the team at Kick, but that doesn't hold him back from pointing out negative things about the platform. Bro did the Israel defense, dude. Hey, we investigated ourselves and found no wrongdoing, okay? By the way, that wasn't even the claim. It's not that the claim wasn't that like Kick reached out to Kaide. The claim was that behind closed doors, they were saying that because they were joking about the fact that because she has cancer and not long to live, that, you know, they could get her at a cheaper rate. Among many other, obviously, many other allegations. I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that XQC might be a little bit biased, you know, considering that he literally got $100 million. He might be just a tad bit biased here. A tad bit. It's bad faith, dude. I know. Yeah. I mean, this isn't like the first, nor will it be the last time I think he will defend Kick in like to the best of his ability, I guess. Like whether it be like random Kick streamers that are doing like insane that he seemingly finds himself on the wrong side of on issues, from Drake all the way down to that random. He called you reactionary for believing her without proof. His whole argument was no proof. I mean, that would be the proof? The proof is what she's saying. Like it's personal testimony from a person who was in the room. I met an XC fan IRL and I told him I like you and Wubby for streamers, and he told me he hates you but wouldn't hate me for watching you. It was the cringiest internet behavior I've ever seen IRL. XC's yet to say the N-word live since defending Divorcilli. Yeah, he won't say it, but some shadows think witnesses go to the police station to testify and the police just say, where's the proof? And if there's nothing, they don't do any further investigation. Yeah, bro, he has never liked you. This is coming from a former juicer. All he would do is talk about you. I know. Didn't you let that dude stay in your house for like months? Not months. That was a long time ago, though. He was trying to defend this yesterday. His chat was not buying it. Yeah, the more he does this, the more people mad at him in his own community. I don't think he realizes that. The XG fan that hates you because he's a Gamba addict, Lamau. Well, I hope he's winning at least. I watch a lot of XQC. He never says he full on hates you, but he does this a lot. You know, I don't think he'll say he hates me. He'll just make me the villain in this community for 2+ years now. He won't openly be like, I hate that. I hate him.
DMs are open and HR is always available to her, which Melissa responded that he wasn't interested when her problems were actually happening, and he only cares now because he's in damage control mode. You know, following all this, we've seen some big reactions from some pretty big names in the streaming space. This including commentator and big streamer himself, Hassan Piker, saying,
here's the thing, everybody. Ultimately, the same test exists for Kick as it does for every other streaming platform. Will people go there and voluntarily stream there for free? If the answer is no, then there is no, you know, there is no long-term commitment to growing the platform. It doesn't mean that Twitch doesn't have its fair share of problems. Of course it does. It's just that, you know, at least it's not a platform that is genuinely trying to market itself as the place to go to when you get banned out of every other platform for doing sometimes crimes, like literal crimes. When the bag dries up, you will see what streamers truly feel about this platform.
And then specifically regarding Melissa's story regarding the streamer with cancer, he said,
when you think about it, I feel like that kind of like bloodless opportunism is like somewhat expected from any kind of corporation, I guess, you know? It's pretty gross.
But notably, we also have other streamers on the other side of this, like XQC, who, I mean, it is a key thing, received what was reportedly a non-exclusive $100 million contract with Kick last year, with him defending the platform. By him linking Melissa's story about the streamer with cancer with Twitch streamer Kaide, and her having shared her experience with acute myeloid leukemia throughout last year. And XQC saying that Kick and Stake told him that there had been no talks with Kaide, saying,
I asked, there was no communication. done the Kaide from kick or stake. I even sent people to go investigate on the kick part because apparently it could have been kick. I even asked to go investigate if anybody at kick ever said any of the Kaide, and I didn't get anything.
So notably there for now, as of filming, we haven't seen any response from Kaide. But we have from the special needs streamer Melissa mentioned, that seemingly being Jake Future 27, who said Kick never lowered his deal. And Melissa then responding, I'm sorry for having you involved in this. I did, however, relay a conversation that was definitely had. I'm unsure if my video changed your mind or not, but I'm just glad you've gotten to keep your contract. And we saw Kick's leadership also honing in on the fact that Melissa really didn't provide any hard evidence to back up her claims.
If evidence is ever presented, we will 100%. We take the allegations seriously. We're continuing to investigate them internally. And this is with despite, like, you know, evidence being presented. So that's something that's very, very important to this team, that it doesn't matter that these are allegations. What matters is getting down to, is this stuff really happening?
But he went on to say that none of these complaints have been brought up internally. But, you know, with all that said, I got to pass the question off to you. Where do you land on it? What do you think? And then if you're making or even posting...
How does a grown and a frame painting laying on the floor? He's just chill, dude. Wow, this would all be compelling stuff if we didn't watch what we watched last night? Yeah. The counter to all of this stuff is just basically looking at the Jawbreak video, which I will not ask you to go through ever again. And I will hopefully never have to go through ever again. Odd How Album is one-sided with your haters for the most part. Most of our chat doesn't go and do the hate watching to the extent they do. You don't take low blows at them or make up lies. You're in good faith when you talk about them. It's the truth. You don't make lies about your haters. You take high road. Yet in their eyes, you're always the bad guy. So frustrating. I think for many people, I think it's like, what was it? I see that one said, like, Hassan is always on the right side of issues, on the good side of issues, it seems. Like, what is that about? And it's basically a revelation that, like, a lot of these people do recognize that there's a right and wrong, and they think that it must be fake. Like, I must be grifting, or I must be presenting issues in some way because I'm, like, audience captured, or there is no real way that I would advocate for the things that I advocate for. Yeah, he said, Hassan always seems to be on the good side of everything. Suspicious. Badly clipped, chimped out of context, and the hate is not related to what comes up on occasion. That is a definite part of it as well. The question always is, like, if I'm grifting, why wouldn't I grift to the right? Seemingly, when all of these people historically that have accused me of grifting have had their own
Sup, you beautiful bastards. Welcome back to the Philip DeFranco Show, your daily dive into the news. And we got a lot of news to talk about today, but first, I got an announcement. It's that our amazing June Flowers drop is now live over at beautifulbastard.com. And there's so much goodness in this one. Starting with our core monochrome French terry cloth midweight hoodie and short sets in sky blue and lavender. Got the color split Beautiful Bastard Flowers tee y'all love so much. Also, we got the super limited Keep Going Roses hoodie, the emotionally exhausted tie-dye tank with embroidered flowers, a brand new Feel Everything gear on a custom cut and sew tees, and a brand new Midway Cruise with stealth pockets, or One Day We'll All Be Skeletons acid wash long sleeve tees, our emotionally exhausted dad hat, or super limited edition emotional support monkey. It's weighted, it's lavender scented, you could even heat it up. We just generally had a lot of fun with this one. Hey, grab what you want while you can. We have some inside bets on what we think will sell out first. But that's it. We got a lot of news to talk about today, so let's just jump into it. Starting with...
I think like it's just to me, and that's something you really need to fix.
I'm gonna bash your head against the wall with a brick if you don't shut the up.
So that is just a small piece of a leak around longtime YouTube creator Alex Elmsley, otherwise known as I'm Alex. So if you don't know, he's a 25-year-old British YouTuber with around 2 million subscribers. He's not doing a lot of commentary and reaction content. But now he's facing incredibly detailed allegations of abuse from his ex-girlfriend, who's another creator by the name of Alice Hez, who has about 1 million followers on TikTok. And over the weekend, she released several videos and logs of their interactions along with an 82-page statement. With that saying, it's best it was made public how horrible this person with the platform is. I'd hate to see another woman go through this. They're sharing a link to the Google Drive folder with audio and video files documenting the alleged abuse. Which I will say, because I'm going to try to make this consumable, I'm not going to be hitting on every single detail, but you can access the Google Doc yourself if you want to go through everything. With that said, what we see here is Alice describing how it started when, quote, small arguments worsened to the point where he would turn on his camera and start shouting at her on call.
Now, when it's too late, you admit that you did everything wrong. But when it actually matters, when you should lay down like a good dog, you don't do it.
Yeah, acting like this is all just me, and that's something you really
I'm gonna bash your head against the wall with a brick if you don't shut the up. Your boyfriend's a famous internet celebrity and doesn't trust these people because he has to keep his circle small. Because you might not have anything to lose, because your life might be down the drain, but I still have quite a lot that I would like to give.
Also, the screenshots that Alice shared appear to show more of the same behavior. In those more than once, he calls her a dumb whore. He also uses the N-word, telling her to kill herself, saying things like, just die in a fucking hole and please bury yourself in the fucking garden. And then appearing to go so far as to threaten to do it himself, writing in one conversation, I'm going to fucking kill you. I'm going to break your neck. Right, and all of these are just some of the insults, threats, or otherwise manipulative and emotionally abusive texts that Alice says that Alex sent to her over the course of their relationship. And unfortunately, Alice also says that it gets worse, saying that once they moved in together, it sometimes became physical, describing one instance where she says he grabbed her hood and pulled her back until she fell on the floor, saying that when she got up to run away, he grabbed her, put her in a headlock, and covered her mouth, and saying after that argument, there were days where he would just scream in her face and tell her to kill herself multiple times, even saying that it got to the point where she would be shaking and scared for her life every time he came closer, was in the same room as her while arguing. And as far as people possibly asking her, why would you stay in this relationship, she seemed to touch on that, saying, believe me, I wish I could turn back time, but I believed his lies when he apologized to me, and I really tried to believe he would stop going so far if I asked him to. Though there, Alice did eventually get herself out. They're even appearing to get this recording while she's packing her things to leave.
And then you get a miserable But your face is annoying to look at, like when I come downstairs.
They're saying that even after she left, he wouldn't leave her alone. And so with that, saying she's decided to speak out now because he's threatened to, quote, create a contradicting story to discredit her own. And seemingly with that, also acknowledging that she also insulted Alex in their conversation, writing, in no way am I trying to make myself look as if I never said anything mean. I stooped down to his level and became reckless with my language to try to prove a point. They're even appearing to have changed his contact name in her phone to racist N-word at one point. And on top of that, she admitted to slapping him in the face at one point, but her saying that she only did that after he backed her into a corner while screaming at her. And with all that said, as far as the other side of this, we haven't seen a response from Alex yet. And I mean that as far as him releasing any sort of public statement, as well as we reached out last night to see if he had anything to say. As of recording, he has not responded. Though among all the other people who have reacted to this, notably, this includes several internet personalities who have been a part of Alex's circle at one point or another, such as with YouTuber Will N.E. saying there had been rumors of Alex's behavior last year, and also saying the severity of the abuse that Alice published was far worse than anything I'd heard being discussed. That Google Drive is fucking abhorrent, and what he put her through is inexcusable. Also, Twitch streamer Mia Mon saying Alex's behavior was something, quote, well known throughout the industry. But they're also adding that she found it genuinely hard to believe the creators close to Alex had no idea this was going on. And creator Memulus writing, I would usually wait until both parties have said their side publicly before speaking about it, but I think the evidence here is overwhelming. It's awful and disturbing and has seriously shocked me. I'm still processing what's happened. This is one of the worst situations I've ever seen in my life, and I hope Alice is okay. It took a lot of courage to speak about this. But ultimately, as of recording, that is exactly where we are. And so for now, we're gonna have to wait to see what happens, right? Does more come out? Does Alex respond? But in the meantime, I gotta ask you, what are your thoughts about this incredibly disturbing situation? And then when you look at professional sports, you see rivalries everywhere, right? The Bears and the Packers, the Yankees and the Red Sox, the Jets and winning. It just takes a game and puts it on another level. I don't even watch college football. Auburn versus Alabama, I'll watch that game. But in the WNBA right now, you've got a lot of people saying it doesn't feel like people are talking about rivalries so much as trying to stir a race war. And at the center of all this, you've got Caitlin Clark, because she's currently one of the biggest names in the sport. She's constantly being credited for bringing so many new eyes to the female game. And since getting into the WNBA, while yes, there's been a focus on some of her stats, a lot of the focus has been on her hits. Right? A couple of weeks ago, we talked about the Kennedy Carter shoulder check to Caitlin Clark, as well as all the fallout and the outrage that ensued afterwards. With some saying she's being targeted because she's the new it girl, others saying she's getting coddled because she's the new it girl. But now, because of this latest incident between Clark and Angel Reese, the online discussion has taken a sharp turn. Well, I can't show you the hit because I'll go straight to copyright jail, not pass go, not collect $200. In Sunday's game between the Indiana Fever and the Chicago Sky, Reese swung her arm up for a block and she knocked Clark in the head. And regarding that
personal right-wing shift in that process. How did that happen? I'm waiting for the perfect moment, for the perfect opportunity. If I'm grifting and I have no real convictions, is this the clip?
I when you're saying somebody's on your side, he's defending you. I haven't been told that, and it's really, really dumb. Like, it's appalling that people can't see PR Andes these days. I hate it. I'm convinced. A lot of people are literally PR Andes. Hassan, Ludwig, it's just PR Andes. Like, just small, tiny lives look like they're on the good side, and you just eat it up. It's just weird.
He's just saying that people are doing it for PR. Yeah. When I was doing such great PR, when I said America deserved to live, massive PR move for me. Bro, did you and Lud help him out when he was in a low place? Yeah, I mean, I don't think he has the same level of skill for Ludwig. Ludwig definitely does do a much better job of managing relationships like that. I think for me, a lot of people basically say, oh, there must be a secondary reason why this person says the things that they say, why this person advocates for the things that they advocate for. It can't be their own genuine convictions, their firmly held convictions. It can't be their worldview. It's just a demonstration of their own personal, internal monologue and what they operate on. I think that's what it is. A lot of people also personally think, online especially, that being outwardly right-wing or outwardly edgy in the right-wing direction means that you're being real, quote-unquote real. There's another problem where people think oh yeah, these guys are real. They're saying it like it is. I don't know. I think it's very alienating to be on that side, especially when so much of it is transactional. I literally don't know why people hate on you so much. I had friends who were hopping up ahead. Do not think you're some bourgeois fake socialist. Lamau, why is there so much brain rot? Internet. That's it. Internet. Having a disagreement on one key issue. That's probably what it is. Getting drama farmed into oblivion. Do we talk about drama too much? Nah. I don't talk about drama enough, and drama doesn't suit you. Why are you covering more drama? Oh my God, stop the drama. Or you talk about drama too much? Brother, for the past 8-9 months now, I have relentlessly engaged in almost exclusively news coverage, specifically in terms of what's going on in Israel. This is one of the few instances where I just sidestep away from that. Also, the reason why we got into this is because of Kick, which had seemingly a 1-year lifespan. I mean, it's happening. I have a friend who started saying to like you, but then he started watching ABBA and preaching all of a sudden he feels like he tried too hard to be righteous. Yeah, the thing is, a lot of people I think personally will have some confusion on issues like transphobia or being trans in general. And if the normative position is that people are transphobic but don't want to think about it too much, and someone is causing them to think about it, all of a sudden they're in this unique predicament where they're do I re-examine the way I see the world? If the person talking to them is charismatic, confident, that might be able to break through their previous social conditioning. But if someone can just stand on, I'm the reasonable party here, I'm the actual charismatic party here, don't listen to this guy, he's just talking out of his ass, and break through the commentary that way without actually addressing the issues that I'm mentioning, for example, or by directly going in the enlightened centrist basically is a very successful form of this grift. It's always going to be easier to go back to commentary that gives you a sense of comfort, gives you a sense of security, a sense of comfort, that the way you understand the world is actually good. You know what I mean? Don't be everyone telling you that the way you analyze the world is wrong is actually the wrong ones, and they're being sanctimonious pricks, standing on a soapbox and saying these things because of some other underlying reason, right? There has to be a different reason that they're just that these guys are taking these positions, and I think that's enlightened centrist ass content creators that take left-wing positions on certain issues and then like incredibly reactionary positions on others, do a pretty good job of just like pulling people out of that and then bringing them back to the comforts of reactionary opinions. Ultimately, though, history will absolve me. Like I said, I think it stems mostly from people being very cynical and seeing the world through this transactional lens and assuming if someone else is like advocating for things that make them uncomfortable, they must have a secondary reason. Maybe they have audience capture, where they have just locked themselves into this like woke mind virus position, and now they can't escape it. They can't be honest about their true opinions that reflect their opinions, right? It must be for monetary reasons. They must be grifting. I think it's just a demonstration of their own personal framework. A lot of people do this. People do this in this community. When I tell them to be chill, when I tell them to be normal, people will immediately go, oh, you must be like defending your friend. You must not be advocating for the same principles that you're advocating for on this issue as well. There must be a cynical secondary reason why he's telling me this. Everybody does that. It is what it is. But ultimately, I think the real solution, no matter what it is, the real solution to all of this like uncharitability is to get people
All right, what's going on, guys? It's Jeff. XDEFIANT patch notes are here. If you thought we wouldn't do another preseason, you thought wrong. Read more of what's changing in today's update. We've sped up the progress of unlocking weapon attachments by lowering the amount of XP needed to level up your primary weapon from 3,500 to 3,000, and your secondary weapon from 1,500 to 1,000. This change is retroactive, meaning your existing weapon levels will likely be even higher now. To counteract this and provide a greater challenge to the community, weapon mastery level requirements have increased. Oh no, don't do this. I was one weapon off. However, any player that has already unlocked bronze, silver, gold skins will get to keep them. We're not monsters. But my RPK wasn't done. My RPK was like level 20. What do you mean increase? Netcode improved how quickly your health reacts when being shot, which should reduce the feeling of being shot behind walls. Okay, cool. Even more netcode improvements, always welcome. Enjoy that. The game has been exponentially more bearable, not like dying around corners and feeling like I shouldn't have died there. With the last update, it started to feel very good. And yesterday I had like one example of me dying around the wall. I could have potentially been wallbanged now that I'm looking back at it, but it's really hard to tell. So this should just make it feel a little bit tighter. So we'll see what happens. Players wielding the MPR while strutting around in the Firestorm skin were experiencing an abnormal level of recoil, which has been reset to normal recoil, so strut away. I didn't even know that was a thing. Restored the decorum of lying down when dead to players who previously remained on their feet after dying under the influence of Libertad's Ultra. Yeah, so whenever you killed anybody in that ultimate, the players wouldn't actually fall over and die. They would just freeze while like standing up and then eventually just disappear a couple seconds later when the person respawns. It just didn't play the death animation for some reason. And additional crash fixes. I don't crash very often at all. I think the last time I crashed was like 3 days ago or something like that. And I crashed when I was opening my shadow play. I don't even know if that was like a game related thing. Very weird. Let's go and see what they did with this weapon leveling thing. Oh, I'm scared. Oh, all right. So we're over here over on level 116 M16. Okay, so all of my weapons, the only thing I had left to do was the RPK-74. It was the last weapon before I ended up getting gold on everything. And it looks like my secondaries are level 149. So, okay, I see what they did in the sense of level 100 is now equal to level 116, which is, it shows that you do level up faster, but now the goals are more out of reach, right? We go over to the mastery camos. Instead of the max level being 100, it is now 200. Oh no. So they made it easier to get access to all of the attachments and stuff, but they increased the amount that it takes to get gold for everything, is my understanding. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to get this RPK to 200. Oh no. I understand, but I don't understand. Usually I would get like 2.5, 3.5 levels or whatever if I drop like around 70 plus kills or so. Maybe we get like 5 levels a game now or something like that. Ooh, arena, perfect. I'm the only like level 100 in here. Okay, never mind. There's one other guy in here, but what is it for secondaries? It's still 200. Okay, so, oh, good thing I still saved all these classes with gold on it, because I don't know if I can reselect gold there. I'm confused. These are all gold. They're still all showing up there. They're all there so long as they're still equipped, but what happens if I were to put bronze on, for example? Just in the menu, can I put gold back on it? Oh no, I'm having that weird bug again where it's dropping me down to 200 FPS. I still have that on plus boost thing, and it's not working anymore. Usually the on plus boost made it so that that didn't happen, but wait, is there no kill confirm noise anymore? Yeah, I'm not getting a confirmation sound whenever I kill somebody. Basically, completely silent. Okay, RPK level 22. I never realized how awkward kills feel without like a kill confirmation noise. Like most games these days have like a kill confirmed sound. I mean, that's the only way people are getting kills with that. Just gotta jump in my face and just firebomb instead of being able to shoot, because you're definitely not winning any gunfights. He's doing the best on their team and he's negative. Hey, what are you guys doing? Guys swapped off of sniping. Of course, MP7 as well. They won't swap to anything else except MP7. So hard carried by the MP7. It's crazy. Nerf the shit out of that MP7. Hard carries the worst players imaginable. They're terrible. He's sniping, switches to a full auto, like, oh, I can use a full auto too. And then picks the most meta shit possible. Brother, I'm leveling up weapons. You're sitting here trying to win. I'm not trying to win, and I'm literally 8 times the player you are. You got nothing. Let's see how many levels we get at the end of this. Please be something good. Right, 71 kills, and everyone on the other team, that bum with the MP7, barely went positive, triple their damage. Garbage player. All right, so how many levels do we get right here? That's it? So we went from level 21 to 24? Yeah, it basically was right there. So 3 levels. So instead of it being usual 2.5 levels, it was 3 levels. But they doubled the amount. I don't know about this one, guys. I don't know what this was done for exactly. Is this in preparation for the upcoming mastery tournament or something? I'm confused. I don't really get it. Well, I understand that it's supposed to be more of a challenge, sure. But it already was a good amount of work to go and get one weapon gold. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I technically already got the levels when I got them to 100, right? Basically felt like I was done with that weapon. Now I have to go back? I don't know. This shit made me feel like I was somebody climbing up Mount Everest. I get to the top, I get to the peak, and then the clouds and fog and shit end up clearing up in front of me, and then I realize that there's a mountain that's 2 times taller right in front of me after I had already given everything I got to get them to where they are now. Brutal change, I'll be honest. This is pretty brutal. I expected them to just adjust the amount of XP that you get by obviously increasing the amount of XP you get, even if it's just by like 25%. And technically, I guess I'm leveling a little faster, maybe, but not enough to make up for the fact that it's doubled the amount of levels in total. I agree, like, it's nice to think that like you want to put more and more work into getting gold on every single weapon, but it was already a lot of work, man. I have multiple days played on this game. I also don't know if they're aware of this weird bug where like you're not getting like the kill confirmation sound. I don't, maybe there's an option. Did it turn itself off or something? And now it makes me wonder and worry about like, what about when the new mastery camo comes? I was expecting them to maybe increase the maximum level at that point. Like, you know, you leave gold at 100 and then like maybe 125 or 150 is the new mastery camo. And then they were going to increase it from there. But now it's like, what's the new mastery camo challenge even? Is it leveling like the rest of the mastery camos? I assume so. So what? The brand new mastery camo is going to be at what? Like level 250? So I still have to get everything up to over 200, even if I do have gold though. Oh, that's brutal. I know they were trying to be nice with like allowing people to keep the golds and stuff like that. That's on their current class. I don't know if I can reselect. Here, I'll just try it. Fuck it. Let's go with this AA-12 because I never want to touch this piece of shit again anyway. We go to the masteries, right? I can equip bronze. It was gold. You saw that it was just gold. Mastery. I can't select that. Oh, but I can select it from the skins tab. Oh, okay, so it's still there. I can select it on the skins tab, but under mastery, it's not there. All right, okay, that's a little better. Okay, cool. Okay, I'm understanding now. But again, I still don't feel like the overall XP that you gain is enough in comparison to doubling the amount of overall levels. You know what I'm saying? Like, we got like a 100% increase in total levels needed for gold now. Like, I have to get this weapon to 200 instead of 100, but I'm only doing it like 10% faster. I don't know what the actual numbers are. That's just how it feels anyway. Now, again, these mastery grinds and stuff are like the main things that keep me on the game at the start. But if I enjoy a game, which I enjoy XDEFIANT a lot, I'm gonna play regardless. It just fucking sucks I was one weapon off of getting all of them gold. The thing is, I'm starting to believe now that the requirement is not to get every single weapon gold now. I'm thinking that it'll just be a separate thing. You don't have to get every single one of them gold in order to get the next mastery camo, for example. I think it'll just be at a different level. One by one. It's not like an overall like completionist camo. Not yet anyway. Maybe in the future there will be some kind of completionist thing, but I have a feeling that it's just based on levels with this new one that's coming. Maybe it's not as bad as I'm thinking. Everything is just scaled differently, that's all. I still really wish I finished this RPK though. Yeah, and also in comparison, since I was talking about the other LMG M280 or whatever it is This RPK feels underwhelming in comparison. RPK just feels like a slower AK. Same TPK, everything. You know, obviously you got a bigger mag, I guess, but that's pretty much it. It's an AK with a bigger mag. It doesn't seem like there's any damage difference whatsoever. Could be wrong, though. I don't know the number. Also, I feel like I'm hearing footsteps louder. They didn't mention any footstep adjustments. Maybe it's just due to, like, less sound effects going on whenever I'm getting kills and shit. I feel like I'm hearing people's footsteps from further away. I can't tell if that's a good or bad thing, though, or if it's just some weird placebo. So they left all the attachments and stuff at the earlier levels and made it a bit faster so everyone can get their attachments, but then there's the whole marathon after the fact, okay? I mean, I get it. How many levels did I get? I mean, I'm a grinder. I'll do it anyway, but I just don't really know what it was done for. I don't really understand that. Why couldn't it just stay at like 100, right? Increase the amount of XP that you get by like 25, 30% or something like that. Yes, it does mean that people would be able to hit gold faster and they would be able to complete the content of the game faster, right? Yeah, I do understand that. But 200? Like bronze used to be 50, it's now 100. Silver used to be 75, it's now 150. And gold used to be 100, it's now 200. Maybe if gold was like 150, bronze was 75, silver was 100. Shit, like, I don't know, man. Fuck, that's brutal. I really thought I was going to be able to finish before the Shadow of the Earth thing. Today was going to be the day that I was going to finish this. I was going to be able to go and grind this all the way up to 100, but now that I have to get up to 200, I don't think I can do that. I really don't. Maybe today plus tomorrow I can get it to 200. Fuck.
Seven days from today is one of the biggest food holidays for me, which is Halloween. You know, you give away candy to the kids and you keep some for yourself.
I don't know about you guys, but I personally have never heard of a food holiday before. You know, most people, I think, dialectically just call it a holiday, maybe a get-together, but to center it around food is a bit bizarre and outside of my vocabulary, I think. You know, I feel like every once in a while I've heard Thanksgiving referred to that. Oh, it's the food holiday. I haven't heard Halloween as that. And it's very fitting for Boogie to try and group every single event, every single day of the year as some sort of food holiday. You know, next Tuesday, that's Reese Cup holiday, so I have to make sure I get a bag of candies to go eat that. And you know, respect. You know, everybody has their weird obsessions. Mine is talking about Boogie on the internet. His is eating a different type of food every day. You know, respect. Either way, it's been a little bit over a month since the Mike Klum documentary on Boogie came out. I made a couple videos right around the time that those were posted, and I thought that we would revisit because there are some behind the scene clips that didn't make it into the documentary that Boogie uploaded. He's also given some of his thoughts about what he thinks of the documentary. So I thought we would evaluate some of that stuff today and really see and really get to the nitty gritty. You know, see, do you guys think Boogie has changed? Let's find out.
I guess I'm eating Taco Bell.
Didn't you just say you don't enjoy chicken quesadilla?
I'm kind of enjoying one thing about it right now, and it's super fucked up. Do you want to know what the one thing I'm enjoying about it is? That it's so bad for me. I know I'm going to pay for this later. Right? I'm going to end up with diarrhea in the morning. I'm going to end up with stomachache tonight.
After too weak to handle Taco Bell, I don't know what else to save you. It's the same with drinking milk. If you're lactose intolerant, you gotta fight through it, all right? You might get the squirts, you might be soiling some underwear every once in a while, but you gotta prove your commitment. You can't be showing that your genetics are just off kilter. This is the same with Taco Bell. And also, I don't know who's dissing the chicken quesadilla at Taco Bell. It's delicious, it's cheap, it's like $4. I mean, it's a great deal. It's not as good as their, I don't even know if it's new. I don't even know if it's new, guys, but the first time I've ever had it was probably a month or two ago, is their grilled cheese burrito thing. Oh, it's so good. I don't know what the sauce is in there. It looks like cum. It's pretty good. It's pretty delicious. Don't clip that. Don't clip that. Don't put that on your own channel. All right. It was a joke. It was a joke. And it's funny that Boogie's gonna try and twist and turn it and be like, oh yeah, you know, I'm gonna pay for this later. You don't care. Why are you pretending like you care? It's not like it's gonna sit on your mind. You're gonna go and drink a Mountain Dew right after this. You're gonna go and jerk off in front of your computer and go to bed. And that's your day, you know, and tomorrow is Snickers bar day, so you have that to look forward to.
because people have always extremely overestimated how much money I made. And then the way that I spent my money was very stupid. I made a lot of very stupid mistakes. I wanted to address this in this documentary, show you the receipts, show you how much money I had, showed you the stuff that was in my home, showed you exactly what it is I've done to screw up my life this much, and hopefully recover from it. I'll never be able to do it better than Mike Klum did. Someone who came into my house, who got to know the real me, who got to see the receipts and put them in a documentary. We'll always have that.
This is the funny part. If you've seen the video that I did with Boogie and Mudahar and the whole thing related to that, I was gonna follow that up. Boogie got his hands and knees to beg for forgiveness from Keemstar in order to keep doing the LolCow Live podcast thing, because the debate with Mudahar was supposed to be incorporated into that or whatever. Who cares? Doesn't matter. The whole thing is, in that interview with Review Tech and Mudahar, he basically says that Mike Klum got everything wrong. Essentially, you know, he filmed some things, but most of the things were just wrong. All the numbers on the screen, those were wrong. And it's like, okay, well, why didn't you correct them? And we have the evidence here. You've clearly seen it, and you clearly approve of it here. And then once you saw the backlash of everything coming out, you're like, well, those numbers aren't even real, you know? I wasn't fixated on the numbers. It's like the numbers is the whole thing, you stupid idiot. you dumb idiot. And I gotta ask, okay, what's going on? What's going on with the background inside of Boogie Studio? What are all these different textures on the wall? You got a bed sheet hung up on the side next to some like cardboard cutout that's hanging something up. And then you got some like knockoff dingy like stone wall texture in the background. It's really perplexing. Are these the advancements that Boogie's been talking about? Oh, I'm gonna try and do better on my videos. Is it getting 3 different wall textures in the background? Is that what's gonna put you over the top, buddy? I don't know. I guess we'll find out.
He's the only one that I love and I care about, and there's only one of them. And so I'm not just gonna up and leave him for money, because money's an issue.
Because I love him and just imagining a life without him.
What do we do? He's like, you've had bypass surgery. You lost 200 pounds. What more can I do for you? I'm like, fix it, dude. Help fix it. And then they're telling me that I'm the one that has to fix it. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. And I'm making less and less every month. And I'm scared.
You're telling me that she can't find another immobile gamer Mountain Dew addict who's 400 plus pounds that wouldn't gloat over her. I mean, maybe she's lucked into, you know, the king of those of that category of people, and she's just on the decline with him because he did afford a house. You know, he's not living in his mom's basement. He's not living in some dirty little hole on the shack in the side of the street. You know, so maybe she's really dumpster diving, but in like the rich part of town. You know, she's not in the slums. She's in the ritzy gated community looking through the trash. And hey, you know, respect. And it's funny, and I've already commented on the second clip. I thought it was a good juxtaposition between her thoughts and him talking. It's like you're shooting for failure. That's who you're a diabolical liar, a consistent liar. That's who you really want. Oh, okay, good for you.
But I'm glad that I used this platform that Mike gave me to talk about this stuff and get it out of the way, because I don't want to talk about it on this channel ever again, man. I just want to be an entertainer. I mean, I just don't want to share the personal aspects of my life anymore if I can help it. A lot of people have asked about stuff that was not in the final cut of the documentary. The good news is I have plenty of clips to show you moving forward. I think I have like a stack of 20 different clips that are long enough for a YouTube video that I think you'll enjoy, covering some of the stuff that wasn't in the full doc.
I think this is also funny. Boogie, your entire personality is you overshare your entire life to the internet. It's just you saying, oh, I'm so sad. Oh, woe is me. I feel so bad about myself. by the way, did you know that the entire neighborhood came by and they just pulled my pants down when I was a little kid, and they pushed me down the hill, and I just rolled and I rolled and I rolled, and I just wouldn't stop rolling. I was geometrically constructed to roll. And it's just funny. It's funny. And then he follows it up. I'm not going to talk about my personal life anymore, but I'm gonna try and make bank off of these 20 clips I have in the vault that I'm gonna upload that are about my personal life. But I'm not talking about it anymore, guys. You don't understand. You don't understand. I'm moving on. I'm so much better than this. Oh. Yeah, I'm sure that's why you're doing the lolcow podcast. Yeah, I'm sure you just want to completely avoid drama and talking about yourself. That has to be the absolute only certainty in your entire life, Boogie.
On top of that, we have Halloween decorations I just haven't bothered picking up. That's kind of great. We don't really do a lot of yard maintenance until the housing authority gets on us in this area. We got 5 bedrooms. We got 2.5 baths, and I have filled it with useless shit. It's not a place I ever thought I would live in. I'm so stoked that I get to live in a place like this. Probably have to sell it sometime in the next year, but for now, it's mine.
I think this whole scene is pretty funny because if you remember in the documentary, there's a clip where they're asking Des, his girlfriend, oh, like, what do you do? What do you do around the house? And she's like, oh, I do whatever he needs me to do. I get him his drinks. I'll do some yard work. And it's funny because I'm sure when she showed up, this is before that they were dating, by the way, just as an FYI, just in case you thought he was throwing a slight at her for not actually picking up the shit that they leave in the yard. They weren't dating yet, but I'm sure one of the first things, the first weekend that she moved in, Des, can you go get the skeletons that have been laying out front, the skeletons of my past, Frank Castle's dead body out there? Can you go grab those real quick and, I don't know, throw them inside your room that you'll be sleeping in? And, you know, it works out. It's nice. And I like that he is just in this state of, well, I'm going to enjoy it while I enjoy it. It's the same thing of like when people have no ability to save, whether from their own inability or just it is impossible in their current situation. It's always stressful to me and anxiety inducing to just see them float through life. Just, well, this is gonna happen, then I guess I'll figure it out. And it's like, well, that's kind of a big thing, Boogie. You got all this useless garbage in your house. I think you need a solid concrete plan, buddy.
So this is the center of my universe right here. If I'm not in front of my webcam, if I'm not filming YouTube videos and I'm not playing games, I am sitting in this chair with my dogs in my lap, watching good shows on my giant television, playing video games on my PlayStation or my Xbox, and just enjoying being me. So this is where I filmed my e-begging video, where I explained that I was going broke and that I didn't want to lose my house and I didn't want to lose my career, and I wanted to keep doing what I do for a living. I didn't want to be YouTube Boogie 298. I just wanted to appeal to people as me.
Yeah, I'm the victim. Where, guys? The airport begging video. You know, the one where he said he had no money and he needed everybody to buy everything that he had in his merch store and donate as much money as they could to keep him inside of his house. You know that video? That, not an e-begging video. Come on, guys. It's a charity stream. And I like that he still doesn't acknowledge the fact that he did this video when he had $200,000 left in his bank account from when he sold the crypto. That's the bizarre part. He did that, and he also decided not to do it inside of his house so that everybody wasn't constantly looking at all the useless junk and garbage that all that money has gone towards. And so, oh, I'm the victim, guys. I'm the victim. And also, get your living room put together, man. You got like 14 love seats just sat next to each other in a row. Who the hell wants to sit there, man? This is a disaster. The entire living room setup's odd. I never understand the angled fireplaces in the corner. It makes it awkward to put furniture around, in my opinion. I feel like it leads to a lot of wasted space, but hey, to each their own. You know, it's not like Boogie and his roommate are, well, they're taking a lot of space personally, but in terms of individuals, it's there's not a lot of action going on in the Boogie pad.
This is one of those rooms that, like, after I got divorced, it was a guest room for a really long time. And then COVID happened and I stopped having house guests. So we just had to store stuff, and that's just became the room we stored it now.
So as a person who has collected cards in the past, collectible cards, sports cards, things like that, it can become very overwhelming very fast, where if you just open up a couple boxes, you've got a shitload of extra cards. So you're like, well, what the hell do I do with this? And this is what Boogie's room looks like. It looks like he has a bunch. If you see those containers in the back, it looks like a bunch of those long vertical white boxes, and those usually store like 3,000 cards each, depending on the size inside of them. So it's just he's got a shitload of just useless shit in here. Hence why he tried to go through and sell all this stuff on Whatnot a couple months back. But it's funny. It's funny, you know. I've already got all this useless crap in my house. I need a room to dedicate to just more useless crap. That's nice. Especially, you have like open booster boxes and shit inside of a box on top of the shelf, and it's like, why do you need to save the empty cardboard, bro? You can throw that away. You don't have to hold on to it. Don't worry. It's not gonna, the 15 cents that you're losing there, it's not gonna shoot up in price. Don't worry, buddy.
I didn't really do the real dating thing. I didn't really do like hug or kissing or hand holding. I was more like a friend relationship kind of thing, and I only remember having like actually 2 of those, and it wasn't serious. It wasn't anything besides, you know, high school, or not high school, yeah, high school and school stuff. So I don't have a good relationship with my father. I don't really call him my father. Call him sperm donor, but this don't have to be put into the documentary. I don't reference him as father to me. He's never really been my father. He signed his rights away, or my rights away, whenever I was 20 months old, or was it 18 months old? I think it was 18 months old. He signed his rights away from us, so I never really had a good father or role figure in my life. My thoughts on me moving on to a younger guy is not gonna happen. Because they're not him. Yeah, I feel Boogie is irreplaceable for me. What makes Boogie so special is that he's caring and loving and non-judgmental and has been through heck and back and is still a champ.
What a well-adjusted young female who I'm sure is making an excellent choice in her life to follow and pursue dating this man. There's definitely going to be no consequences involved at all. It's not like having a strong father figure or a strong male figure in the life would help or benefit this situation in any way. Don't worry, you got Boogie, who it took her a while to come up with some reasons as to why he's so perfect. Well, you know, he's kind and he's caring and he's not judgmental. Wow, clap. You've hit the marks on like the 3 biggest categories of what makes a healthy and loving relationship. That's cool. It's not like there's 100 million other men that meet that criteria in your area. Whatever. I mean, we all knew she was broken and damaged, but holy shit.
So if he cheated, I'm not gonna break up with him because I love him and it's gonna hurt. Yeah, we're gonna talk about it, but I know at the end of the day he loves me. So to see him with, to see Boogie with another woman, it would hurt and it would make me jealous, but I'd get it.
He sat there with a straight face, in tears, saying, yeah, Boogie cheated on me. Boogie, by the way, the 450-pound narcissist who's divorced and has anger issues and is manipulative and is broke. that guy, if he cheated on me, probably with another prostitute, he spent a bunch of money because no other women actually like Boogie. That's a matter of fact. We know that for a fact. So if that's how it worked out, then yeah, that's cool. That's cool. I'd be down with that. I'd be cool with that. And it's like, can you get any lower in your life than that? Holy shit. Imagine if Boogie did that to her, dude. Oh my, oh my God. That would be brutal. You literally might not have a worse experience in your life to look back on than that moment. Not just because of the horrible thing he did to you, but because he did it to you. Oh, just brutal.
Character voice like this, you sons of bitches, I can't believe you ruined Diablo 3, this is my favorite game, you know. The kids like this, and then I got married, then I got a divorce 5 years later, and I kind of completely and utterly lost my mind. My work ethic is not great because of the depression and stuff. So I mean, I do have some pretty big references. Keemstar, he probably put in a good word, or Kid Behind the Camera. You know, Kid Behind the Camera. McJuggernuggets might. I worked with him. I had owned a small company with him. He's a big guy.
Okay.
Maybe Angry Grandpa Charles Green, but
So you do have some people that you could reach out to and call upon to give an example of what their experience was working with you.
Yeah, I can't say that it would be a glowing review, but it would be a review.
Imagine using Keemstar as a reference for you. Yeah, Keemstar, the guy who doesn't really like you that much, Boogie, in case you haven't figured out. I know he's working with you, but it's because he has an ulterior motive. He's getting some moolah off of your name, right? It's a symbiotic relationship in that sense. But let's not mince words. He's not a big fan of you. You two aren't friends. We were never friends. Just because you're in the DMs doesn't make you friends, Boogie. At the same time, I will say, Boogie said after this whole documentary that this whole thing was mostly him and Mike being aware that they weren't going to accept him, so he just sort of tried to make it a joke. I do sort of get that vibe a little bit. Him making the joke about Angry Grandpa being dead at the end there, kind of funny. Actually kind of funny. And at the same time, it's like, who do I trust? Do I trust him and believe in that? Or do I just assume that he was just trying to bomb the whole thing the entire time? I don't know. It's hard to decide, but it's not a good look either way.
We talked about it, yeah.
Talked about
yeah.
Children?
Maybe.
Why do you keep looking? Is this a sex trafficking situation?
Hey.
You keep looking at him and never answering the question.
Hey. Come on, man.
I'm just kidding.
All right.
You're fine. I feel like, that's a little close to the heart.
A little bit, yeah.
The sex trafficking.
Yeah, I don't want to be sex trafficking anybody.
Funny that Boogie, nah, you're crossing the line, buddy. You're crossing the line. Excuse me, that's what comedians do, buddy. We're all thinking it. If I saw you in public, I'd be like, well, at least she can outrun him, so there's a good chance, and she's not already bound and like taped or tied up. So I would assume that there's something else going on. You know, maybe it's a terminally ill uncle that she's trying to spend time with. I don't know. I just noticed it, walk by, go tell my buddies at the bar, and we'd be like, holy shit, what a nightmare. But in this instance, can't be saying that. That's not cool, dude. That's not cool. Well, you're sitting in the front row chatting with the comedian about your entire life, and then you just openly say, yeah, it's a 29-year difference. What are you gonna do about it, buddy?
Do you legitimately want a girlfriend? I mean this legitimately.
Okay, well, legitimately, I would like her to like me for me.
Absolutely. She should like you for you.
So,
but there has to be an initial attraction.
Well, I think a lot
Do you want, yes or no?
Yes, but I think a lot of women would respect the fact that I'm about to be Persona 4. It's a really hard
There's a lot
game.
of women that would respect that at my age. Not at 20.
So what's important to a 40-year-old woman?
Stability,
Well, I definitely don't have that.
responsibility.
I'm definitely struggling with that one.
So we got NPC generated Marvel character talking to Boogie about style and how to impress a woman. And it's like, you know, this woman has no idea what she's walked into. But he's not going after 50-year-old ladies, all right? He doesn't want you. He doesn't want your mind-bending powers. He doesn't want you to save the world. He's going after the cradle, all right? He's looking at the IDs. He's seeing, your ID is still vertical. That's a very good sign for me. I'm on the prowl. I'm on the hunt. You know, he's gonna be very excited to give Des the first drink ever. I'm sure that's gonna go over really well. That's romantic. That's what the people really want. And yeah, you know, stability and an income and you know, to be supported. Yeah, I can't do any of that stuff. I don't have commitment. I don't really care. I just want somebody that I can manipulate. You know, I want some toddler to ruin her life when she, you know, walks into my bedroom and I'm sleeping with the sleep apnea machine and it's just sucked my soul out like a Dementor and I'm just dead, decaying there. And she's like, well, we're gonna have to wait 6 months until he loses enough weight in order to extradite him out of the building. Jesus Christ.
The environment that he's living in is not, it's not good. To me, this is almost toxic. You can't walk into this and be happy in this type of environment.
So you would like this one?
No.
What is it?
This shirt says I'm never getting laid again.
I made this one. It's a Boogie Nights. Do you recognize the logo? Pornhub.
Just a nightmare scenario, and it's understandable from her perspective. You know, she's like, why is this guy playing with figurines and doing video games at his age, and he's disabled and he just doesn't care? And it's like, I can see it from her perspective. From Boogie's perspective, I feel like we're in like some like horror insane asylum, and we're trying to see, can we break her? Can we make her run out of the house screaming? I don't know. We'll have to tune in some other time, I guess.
If I can't defeat it myself. But no, so Philip, you're more newly fat, as I like to call. Like you've only really been gaining weight over the last couple of years. You've always been like a little plus size, but mostly tall, right? It's only been the last couple of years you like put on some pounds, right?
I like the mostly tall, but yeah, it's relatively new. Just
he turned into a sick, disgusting freak recently. You understand that, right? I know it's kind of ironic coming from somebody like me, but I just want to say you're a sick, fat freak, and you're lucky that you're tall. Tall separates from your fatness. By the way, fat, so big fatty. Oh, that's very nice of you, Boogie. You're really cheering up your buddy sitting over there. He's really just like, wow. You know, I'm glad I got Boogie on my side. He's gonna help me out in the future.
My dog's like me just the way I am. Yeah. Peace of ice. What? I mean, it's not like he's been with me all day. I know he hasn't eaten any food. Sammy, come here, baby. Leo, no. Come on. I will admit, Mike, I probably have an unhealthy relationship with my dogs. Too much of my mental health and like mental happiness comes from these guys. Specifically Sammy. Like Sammy is, I don't know, man, he's my everything, right? Okay, so between a dog and a relationship, I mean, people leave, Mike.
I don't know if you know this, Boogie, but your dogs are gonna die someday. Whoa, gadzooks! The whole appeal of a relationship is that in theory, if you find a good one that you last forever with, that's like 60 years plus, right? Potentially to that point. And that's the whole appeal. That's like 6 dogs. That's like 5 or 6, 7 dogs all at once. I don't think Boogie understands the life cycle of a tiny little dog. And it also doesn't help that he's sharing ice cream bars with them. I'm sure that's not necessarily good for them, good for their bodies. And then he just, you know, whatever. I would hate to be the lady walking the Boogie outside and just have this fat man who clearly can't control the dogs. Just be grateful he doesn't have a pit bull that's gonna go tear your toddler apart. You know, be grateful for that, because Boogie's not gonna stop anything, and these dogs just do whatever they want. Climb in the bathtub with him, who cares? I already smell like shit. Why not just join in?
I love Leo. He's a good dog. If he dies, I'll probably be okay. I can probably mourn him and get over it. But Sammy was with me through my marriage. Sammy was with me through my rise and fall on YouTube. I mean, he's been my best friend. How do you lose your best friend?
You know, Sammy's looks like a good dog. Not the type of dog for me. It's kind of ugly in my opinion. At the same time, it's nice of Boogie to just say, yeah, if this one over here, if this one dies, up no, the darker fur colored dog, coincidence, maybe not. If he dies, yeah, whatever, I'll move on. But this one that's older, if he dies, I don't know what I'm gonna do. It's like losing my friend. Oh, almost like the Juggernuggets. You remember that guy, Boogie? Huh? You remember that guy? I think we'll do fine. You'll do fine. They'll die at some point, and keep giving them ice cream, keep giving them other shit, and it'll turn out perfectly for you, buddy.
This allowed a lot of people to learn from my mistakes. This allowed a lot of people to see me for the flawed individual that I actually am. This allowed me to get over all of this anxiety and fear and self-loathing that I had going into this thing. And it's allowed me to concentrate on what is effectively a new start. Sometimes you just gotta burn it down and rebuild. And that's what this has been for me.
It's really cute that Boogie always tries to say that moments like these are cathartic. That, oh yeah, you know, it's helping people learn, and it's good for me to tear it down and build it back up. You're still doing the same things as you were before. You literally said very recently on the live stream, on your podcast, you still want to game end yourself. So that's still a reoccurring theme. Doesn't seem like that's changed at all. You know, something that might be easier is if instead of you wallowing in your self-pity nonstop, why don't you just go to the gym? Just a couple times a week, twice a week, who cares? Move around. Go to the pool like you used to. But now that's I'm gonna burn it down. I'm gonna burn it down. Who cares? Either way, that covers all the stuff for Boogie up until this point. I'm sure he'll post some other clips eventually, maybe. He said he had like 20. I think I covered like a dozen of them. So I don't know what else is in the vault, but either way, I hope you guys enjoyed. Until next time, I'll talk to you guys later. Peace.
Hey you, and welcome. My name is Mike, and in this little video, I have for you 3 stories, what I like to call stories for the dark. I often come across these really weird, dark, and spooky stories, but oftentimes there's not enough there to make it out to a full, 30-minute video. So how about a little collection for you? Each of these stories is more dark and spooky and disturbing than the last, but in a very different way. So sure, go on, settle in, grab what you need. Please subscribe if stories for the dark are your thing. Now let's give it a go. In August of 1993, a ship called the Barbel was sailing from London to a city in Germany called Brunsbüttel, right? It's a port city, it's along the River Elbe. You'd stop off there if you're heading on your way down to Hamburg for a cheeseburger. The Barbel, as you can see here, it's a general cargo ship. It had been built in 1989 in the Netherlands, and as it sailed from London to Germany, on board were 6 souls. You had first mate Viktor Varenko, 34 years of age, cook Anatoly Smolyak, 29, engineer Mikhail Mikhailov, 28, man, his parents really did not care, seafarer Vladislav Bogdan, 24 years of age, and then 28-year-old Andrei Lapin. And then, of course, the captain and the owner of that ship, the Barbel, was one Heinrich Telkmann. He was 50 years of age. He was also the only German, as you probably guessed from the names. The rest of the crew were all Russian.